Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University.
Dear learner, all are welcome in Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University in the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism. Today we will discuss about MA-JMC paper code 07 and the paper name Reporting Skills, Print, Radio, TV and Digital. And today we will discuss about Unit-02 Critical Thinking. My name is Dr. Durgesh Tripathi. I am Associate Professor, University School of Mass Communication. The main objective of this unit briefly discuss about understand the concept of critical thinking and what is the purpose and significance of critical thinking for a journalist and how to get started on the journey of building logical arguments. And after completion of this unit, all the learners will be able to appreciate the importance of asking right questions, and students and learners will understand how to build a logical narrative, and not merely student and learners will understand how to build a logical narrative and not merely ingest the information handed out, and learn how to analyze information and comprehend it and write it for the same. If we discuss about history of critical thinking, the practice of critical thinking can be traced back to the times of Socrates, when 2005 years ago he used incessant methods of questioning to dig deep into easily presented and consumed general rhetoric that governed everyday lives. He showed a complete mistrust in the people holding positions of power and proved time and again that they are fearful and irrational, and that their sense of judgment and direction cannot be trusted. Socrates developed a rigorous methodology of questioning that based itself on seeking evidence before accepting an popular norm or thought that is widely accepted. He also studied various underlying assumptions and attitudes that lay at the base of popular notions of human society. And Socrates sought logical consistency and clarity in thought through his rigorous questioning. His method and philosophy has come to be known as Socratic questioning and has become a foundational method used in critical thinking. Socrates' method were carried forward by his pupil Plato and later Aristotle, or in Hindi we may say Arastu, who went on to become historic thinkers and philosophers in their own right. They believed that everything that is seen and widely believed is not the way they actually are, and it takes a trained and skilled mind to see through what is being told. Plato wrote about popular texts, some of them being the Republic and the Apology. There he argued people to more deeply about the meaning and purpose of their lives rather than just live through and to receive just accepted of you. And Plato was a firm believer that popular opinions are riddled with superstition, errors and prejudice, holding us back from finding deeper fulfillment and meaning in our own lives. Plato believed that key to living a life of fulfillment is by knowing yourself, which means putting yourself through a rigorous an stringent examination by questioning the most deeply held and fundamental beliefs and notions you might have. And Plato also believed that true meaning can only be found when you strengthen your knowledge about yourself and you stop being pulled around reactionary to your feelings. Plato worked closely with the Macedonian philosopher Aristotle, which and who is arguably the most recognized thinker in human history. Aristotle's work focused on the different virtues possessed by each person and how she must strike a balance between different virtues in order to live a fulfilling life. Later on, during and after the French Renaissance, a large number of thinkers emerged critiquing various aspects that touched the human life, like education, religion, politics, and science. Thinkers like Francis Bacon stressed on the importance of evidence based learning and that the human mind, left to itself, is incapable of making reasonable and logical conclusions. Therefore, it must be educated about the world by studying it through empirical methods. And again, if we look about and to know about history of critical thinking, another work that emerged in the same era was Sir Thomas More timeless classic Utopia. And Utopia was a satirical critic of the British society, and he was living in and he believed that the entire class structure that existed within society was in need of radical rethinking and critique. In Italy, an erudite political theorist at the time, Machiavelli, developed what is considered to be the founder of political thought and philosophy. Through his observations, Machiavelli broke down the ideals and functioning of politicians, statesmen, and the state itself, laying the foundations of political philosophy, and his questions and theories even standing true till date, so that you can be able to understand about critical thinking. In more modern times, Karl Marx's critique of capitalism and political economy are considered landmark texts for the times they were written in, and Marx's theory and work gained much prominence after his death in 1883 and went on to become central philosophies of anti-capitalist movements across the world. And Marx's work focused on the alienation and exploitation workers faced in a brutally oppressive capitalist system and how to rid the world of its problems and inequalities. One needs to strive towards abolishing the class system. And during the two world wars that pushed the world to imminent self-destruction in the first half of the 20th century, existentialism as a subject emerged widely among philosophers of the time. Jean-Paul Sartre, Jacques Lacan, Albert Camus, and Michel Foucault emerged as some of the most prominent and celebrated thinkers of their time. Their work, which covers a wide range of subjects, has become some of the crucial texts of critical thinking for present-day academia. Another very famous critical thinker of the time about global imperialism, capitalism, and spirituality was Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi's views on environmentalism, non-violence, civil disobedience, and his critique of capitalism and his views on religion are philosophies that have gone on to inspire countless movements across the world. And if we look about perspective and how to give depth to your own reporting, if you are going to report for a or a journalism for any news organization, any press or a media organization, in modern day journalism, where news cycles are created and recreated every hour, a reporter's life is never a stagnant one. Given the pace at which information is generated and distributed in this day and age of digital and social media, the role of a reporter too has evolved massively. 2 decades ago, a reporter had more liberty in working on the developing a story over time and finally publish a detailed report after spending time compiling its details, gaining all kinds of perspectives. But now, in today's fast paced, digitally driven media industry, reporters do not have the luxury anymore. News needs to be gathered, packaged, and sent out as soon as possible while maintaining accuracy and brevity. This news also needs to be easily reproduced across various platforms like print, digital, and video, and will play a key role in the way you frame and develop a story. Given the context, the challenge of being a modern day reporter is multifold, or in other words, I can say that multi challenged and extremely crowded. Online and offline news space allows for every little rooms for creating subjective depth in your own reporting. This therefore calls for you to sharpen your own critical thinking skills on a daily basis, to not just strengthen your own reporting skills, but also to ensure that the perspective of the story you are covering throws new light and color that other reporters might have not, so that you may be express your views, your ideas with your presentation, with your reporting more deeply, more understandable towards your readers and audience and the viewers. One of the advantages of being a reporter in this fast paced digital age is you can observe and analyze the angles and kind of coverage and other channels or websites are giving to a story. For example, if you cover civic issues and there is a fire that has broken out a public hospital or a school in the city, you will be able to follow the developments of the story through live television coverage or through live updates on social media like Facebook or Twitter. Nowadays, we can say Twitter is X, and this should give you cues of the general line being taken by reporters across the board and angles through which they are reporting the story. In this case, reporters might be giving out details of injuries and damage done to the hospital. You can, however, highlight how this fire was a disaster or a mishappening waiting to happen by trying to understand its causes. You can go and speak to local staff at the hospital to check if they were aware of the risk of such a fire and whether they had reported it to the authorities. You can also dig deeper and find the human interest elements of the story. There might be stories of staff or people within the hospital who might have risked their own lives to save the lives of other people. You can also add more elements to the story by talking to the fire department and to understand their strategy in responding to such an outbreak, what measures were taken, and how they are tackling the situation on the ground. And if we look upon perspective and how to give depth to your own reporting, the critical thinking skills required of reporters today need to be fine tuned to a much quicker pace, and reporters today must know how to absorb all kinds of information from various sources in a short period of time, repackage and present it in a new manner, while at the same time adding new elements to the story that did not exist earlier. One way of developing this practice is by reading and following how seasoned reporters go about bringing new elements to their stories. The process they follow in order to build a unique story based on the knowledge that is available to other reporters as well. And the skills of a new age reporter does not just lie in the news and information gathering, but rather it is her ability to sift through overload of information and build a story that is unique in its perspective. And if we look upon how to see the big picture of your story, the bigger picture helps answer the question, why is the story important to the reader, not just in the short term but in the long term. Is this story leading up to any significant policy interventions, or begging attention for a long term solutions to a problem? If that is the case, that bit should be summarily highlighted in the story. This understanding will help you structure the headline and the opening paragraph of the story, which is the most critical part of story writing. Zeroing in on the real focus of the story is to see the story in the big picture. An effective way of doing this is keeping trading questions with colleagues or perhaps the editor on what the story is built. Repeat this question multiple times in your head. What is the story? As you answer multiple questions, you are thinking every time the question is coming your way. Sometimes rather irrelevant questions can also throw up some prescient or a pertinent perspective of the story, enabling the reporters to see the story in a bigger picture. This may, however, not be simple back and forth question answer sessions, but an ongoing conversation with the people you surround yourself with and trust their critical journalistic judgment. In absence of another brain to pick on, The reporter may sit on the story for some time and mull into over again and again from different perspectives, so that you can be able to understand about how to write a story and how to see a big picture and how to showcase a big picture of your story. While looking for an answer to what is the story or what's the story, the reporter must keep the notes away and trying to synthesize all the information gathered in 4 to 5 sentences. Steve Davis and Emily Davis books Think Like an Editor's list 10 questions that should typically be asked to the reporter by the editor to understand the big picture of your story or of the story. And question number 1 is what's the message of the story in a sentence or two? Again, second question, what's the one thing you want readers to come away with to learn? Next question can be, what emerges in your mind as the single key point? Another point, another question expressed in a couple of sentences, what did you learn in your reporting? And another question can be, what's news? This is especially effective as you move from web summary to a more substantial story, whether for the print or online. Another or a question number 6 can be, what most interests you now that you have done all this reporting? Another question can be, what is the key question that you think readers still have and that you can now answer with your story? And question number 8, what's the headline on this story that you are going to make, that you are going to file, that you are going to develop, that you are going to present? And question number 9 can be, what information is not known or has not been reported? And the last and question number 10 is, this a story about a person or a process? Is it about what, why, or how something happened? A typical story example that begs the big picture is the second day story of a fire. The incident needs to answers from the day before and what exactly happened, why it happened, and who is responsible, if anyone. Further questions to ask are, could it have been avoided? If yes, what was not done and why? Any of these could be the most important aspect of the second day story or a follow-up story, and giving the reader a better understanding and the big picture of the incident. If we talk about, if you look about how to ask the right questions in a functioning democracy, it is the media that is expected to ask questions of those in power and in turn keep them under check. The better quality and variety of questions you ask, the stronger the foundations of democracy become. Asking questions is just one part of the job, but asking the right questions that people in power do not expect or are uncomfortable to answer is what distinguishes a good journalist from an ordinary one. While asking questions, you must keep in mind the kind of answers that your questions and refine them accordingly. Test out those questions on yourself, and if your mind can give easy answer to it, it must be an indicator to you that your questions are tough enough. Always ensure that your questions are not just mere yes or no questions, but are the ones that provoke thought and introspection. Asking the right questions can lead you to finding answers you did not even think existed, and in the process will give you fodder to ask new questions and dig deeper with your line of questioning. And this process must just not be followed in your practice of journalism, where you are questioning the subjects or people you are covering. This questioning must also be an internal process where you are constantly questioning and analyzing your own self. This process of self-analysis will help you to understand your own shortcomings in the process of reporting, editing, or any other process of journalism. As you progress in the field of journalism, critically analyzing your own practice of journalism is key to ensure the nature in which you are executing your journalistic duties are evolving, and it does not just benefit your personally but the profession in general. And after that, after completion of this unit, dear learner, I would like to invite you all about to think about the question related with your unit, about what is critical thinking, and question number 2, what are the 7 essentials of critical thinking, and question number 3, the practice of critical thinking can be traced back to which philosopher 2005 years ago. Question number 4, it is important for the reporter and editor to know and understand the big pictures of every story, true or false. And question number 5, the question to repeatedly as yourself and discuss with colleagues and your editor is, so that you can be able to understand about each and everything related with this unit. And I do believe that we have done, we have expressed, we have deliberated each and everything related with the nuances of this unit. Thank you all for patient listening. Thank you, and we will meet again in next unit to express understanding and new dimensions of new topic. Thank you. Swadhyayah Parama